Welcome to Navigating the Reliance Matrix, a podcast breaking down the walls of products, benefits, and the people of the enterprise.
Hi, I'm Jeff Brunken. I'm the president of MGIS.
Andrew Davison. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at MGIS. Prior to coming to MGIS, just about 9 years ago, I was the Senior Vice President of Underwriting at Reliance Standard at the time. And what I've seen already in what's changed here and in the new partners is pretty striking. I think that you've done a fantastic job recognizing you've got a world-class, different approach in the absence management space. You already had great capabilities, and as that has evolved to include things like PFML, you've really jumped on that. You already had the capabilities to really address that market in a way that others weren't. So that's fantastic. I think Chris Fazzini, as president, has created a culture that's a reflection of his values around energy, integrity, innovation. So I give a lot of credit to Chris for this new organization.
MGIS was started up in 1969. That was an interesting time in the country. As pointed out, Woodstock happened, but within the healthcare industry, solo practice was beginning to evolve to group practice. My father started it, and he, just like any small business owner, he was looking for a way to be different in the market, meet a need. And there really was nobody at the time offering disability insurance to group practice physicians. So his premise was, and it's proved out to be accurate over the years, his premise was, listen, if you've got a small business comprised of physicians, they're all partners, there's going to be a natural sort of pressure. Bob, it's time to get back to work. Doctors are like everybody else in a small business. They're, in a very real sense, they're producers. They produce revenue. So that's worked out well. We didn't really have any data at the time to prove that. And so I think the first company was like Slippery Rock of Maine or some small company that took a chance on us. Over the years, it's grown, it's evolved. And what we've really been able to demonstrate in the market is using a very rich product, a very aggressive, feature-rich contract. It's counterintuitive, but that we're able to drive a profitable result with that because doctors value disability, they take it seriously, and ensuring doctors in practice, in healthy practice, those are happy doctors. They are not looking to use disability as a way to retire. It's to the extent we have claims, it's the right type of claims. And we've seen that a high proportion of our claims are partial disability, which suggests to us these doctors, when they do become ill, disabled, they're looking for a way to get back to work. And so the premise, there was no data at the time, but it has worked out really well, and that's partially why we were able to come together with Reliance. Matrix has been a very profitable track record. It's a proven thing. So, yeah, it started in the 60s as solo practice was migrating to group practice. Now that's obviously very established, and we've been a leader in the group the physician disability group space since day one. So yeah, that's how it all started.
So I think it goes back to the length of time we've been doing it, the size of the block that has been built, which provides a spread of risk both in terms of pure demographics, the types of physicians, the ages of physicians, but also the mix of practices that we cover. We really have a broad diversity of not just general practitioners, but we insure a lot of orthopedic surgeon groups, other specialties like that. Radiology is another big one. So we've got a nice distribution of specialties along with that scale that allows us to smooth out any volatility in experience that could result from changes in healthcare, changes in the economy. We've been able to do that long enough and build enough of a block that we can weather that. And it's given us the strength in terms of negotiations with our partners and the people who care about their pricing and their bottom line to be able to demonstrate. We've got the data to back it up to say that we just don't see the adverse results from offering a very rich product. It's kind of alludes a little bit to what you said before, Jeff, where we've found that physicians are highly motivated to return to work as soon as possible. Obviously, doctors are wired to be very type A, and they've put a lot of effort and a lot of time into building their practice, going through residency, medical school. So it's important to them to practice that versus look for ways to malinger and go out on disability. So we've been able to build the scale that supports our ability to deliver, to offer and write profitably a very rich product.
I would add, I totally agree. What we've learned in monitoring the block is not to look at one particular quarter. There is going to be volatility. We're talking about high benefit amounts and so forth, and claims do happen. And until you have experience with the block, it can be scary if you look at this on a quarter-by-quarter basis. But as you look at it a year-to-year, rolling 3 to 5 year, it's very predictable, very constant, and we've just learned to understand that. There's also, in addition to the effective underwriting, plan design, pricing it properly, and so forth, there's a commitment to claims handling. With Reliance Matrix, we have a very specific model, and it begins with the underwriting, product design, actuarial, and so forth, designing the product, but setting yourself up for success. But then you need to execute, and that's underwriting, but it's also claims handling. So we've learned that. We've seen how things can turn south quickly if you don't have those things in place, and we've always corrected that, but we have all that in place with Reliance Matrix, and we're excited to see a future full of profitable growth.
Yeah, one thing just to add on to that, that I think brings that home is during the worst of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, we, like every other insurer, were really closely watching what's happening with our disability incidents. Are we seeing life claim incidents go up? And were we going to see a lot of our practices shut down or stop paying their premium? And we just never saw it in our block. We didn't see any tick up in lapse rates. Our policies stayed in force. Our disability, we saw an increase in STD incidents, but everyone else in the industry did as well. But it was not material. And our biggest concern around long-term disability incidents and duration of claims, we just have never seen that play out. And we've talked about that a lot and tried to come up with, well, are we just smarter than everybody else, or are we just lucky? And,
can't be that.
I think what we really decided was the types of practices that we tend to write, where our product, the value is recognized, and they purchase our product because they value that it's a higher priced product, but they get the value. That's the type of physician practice specialty that was able to weather the pandemic more effectively than maybe a rural general practice type of physician. So that to me really underscored, okay, we've got a block that's really balanced and healthy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. Most of our block is specialty practices, whether or not hospital-based. And so as you went through the pandemic and hospitals were shutting down or closing down non-essential medical procedures, that didn't affect our block so much from the standpoint that they were not frontline workers. They weren't exposed to like a lot of other hospitals workers were. So yeah, we didn't see the DI claim. We didn't see life. We had just a handful of accounts that furloughed. They didn't they chose to keep the practices going by furloughing. I mean, and so we were able to work with, it was remarkable because we were all collectively holding our breath and certainly reading about the results throughout the industry, and it just seemed to just pass us by.
We were wondering when the other shoe was going to drop, and it never did.
Right. You know, for us, it was very clear we have a good thing. We've got a great product. We've got a great way to differentiate in the market and healthcare space. And it really takes, sales is hard work. You know, I mean, we are very closely aligned with our partner. That's our business model. And so we knew that we needed a partner that was strategically aligned, you know, very focused on the healthcare segment, number one. Number two, very open to partnering. It kind of a corporate culture, right? A culture of partnering, growing through partnership. So we had a very clear idea of what we were looking at there, and also the ability to really have sales teams collaborate effectively. When brokers see a rep, an MGIS rep, you know, come in, and when you're hand in hand and you've got each other's back, you're very aligned around you know, the value proposition, that's compelling to a broker. A broker just wants to win. They're looking for a way to, in turn, offer value to their client. And if we can help them do that, that's what they're looking for. So that's what we've learned. And so we were looking for, and also the commitment to keep innovating the product. I mean, our feeling is that, you know, so doctors really understand the importance of disability insurance. They buy this individual disability insurance. It's very, you know, high quality. It's sort of the gold standard, and they're looking for, you know, how, as their income grows, how do they find more coverage? Well, group coverage is a great way to do it, but only if it's high quality, and that's what we've really tried to do from the very beginning. So it's a very easy story. We just need to make sure that we have a partner, and we have it in Reliance Matrix, where we can really, you know, hunt in packs. Todd Elliott uses that term, and that resonated with us from the very beginning. So as we had those early conversations with Chris Fazzini, Todd Elliott, Dave Shaw, it was clear to us that we were really hoping that this would work out. And as things have really come together, and we've spent literally months grinding together to get the process right, have everything come together, it's really been refreshing to see everything play out the way we had hoped it would. I mean, this feels like a very ideal fit and partnership. So we knew what we were looking for. We were hopeful that it was all there with Reliance, and now we're convinced it is, and we're excited.
Yeah, something really important you said, I just want to go back to, which is Reliance Matrix has a number of partnerships, not exactly the same as ours, but they obviously knew how to work with outside partners in a way that wasn't, well, you're just a vendor. Because one of the frustrations we've had is, how do we effectively share data and share key processes like evidence of insurability and claims handling in a way that makes the customer experience seem like it's truly seamless. So I think that was the thing that we liked right away about Reliance Matrix. You were used to dealing with partners and figuring out how to integrate with partners effectively and quickly. It also didn't hurt that some of the key, well, all but Dave. I hadn't met Dave Shaw before, but obviously I'd worked and knew Chris very well, Todd very well. So there was a comfort level there with, okay, I worked with these people. I know they are solid and have great integrity. So I felt comfortable saying Reliance Matrix could be a great partner for us.
That's right. Those were insights that were really helpful, because it was a big decision for us. You know, we knew we needed to change, and we were liking what we were hearing and very comfortable. I mean, and super impressed with just the whole feeling and positive energy and so forth. But that was really nice to know that, have that track record there. Yeah.
I think the number one thing I would say is, when you've got shared energy around, okay, let's make this work, the results are going to be very quickly, the results are going to come to light very quickly. And I think the conversion success we've had is what I'd point to say, okay, everybody's excited and energized about this, so it's worked well. I think the openness to solving problems at every connect we've had with Reliance Matrix to work through things like how are we going to file the product, how are we going to price it. We just never ran into, well, that we don't like the sound of that. More, it's been consistently, we understand why we want to do that. Let's figure out how we get there. The things, Dave, I'd say that we learned that maybe we need to spend more time and create better outcomes for are, we think because we both are in the group benefits industry, we both understand all the nuances of the processes like billing and evidence of insurability. But once you get into the weeds, you find out, okay, there's some differences here. What do we need to do differently, or how do we need to adjust, either Reliance adjusting to what we feel we need to do or vice versa. So I think we've said a number of times we didn't know what we didn't know going in, and of course some things popped up, and there have been a few instances where we said, well, we hardly ever quote a group in that scenario with that combination of plan provisions, and 10 days in, we get a quote for that. So we had to react some and figure things out on the fly. But again, I'd just say it's always been about how do we solve this, how do we get this done.
I agree. I mean, the can-do approach is just permeates the whole organization. I mean, it extends to the sales teams as well. I mean, you know, we launched the conversion offers in October in the middle of the fourth quarter, a very busy time. Everybody's just trying to get to the year end and so forth. Yet, we've still, in spite of that, we still have the Reliance sales, the reps and our team, broker planning, meeting. They're already, they're just broker visits happening right and left, done the right way. We're hearing success stories already about the joint value proposition. So, I mean, that's exciting because that's, again, this all started at a very busy time, very hectic. Reliance, you guys had a banner year, so just managing all that. So in spite of and on top of all of that, we have this really awesome sales team collaboration happening. So it just bodes well. I mean, we feel like we've had success in the past, but almost in spite of the limitations we were dealing with at the time. So what's exciting is to be sitting here now really aligned with Reliance Matrix, where we've got a solid product, it's priced well, it's filed throughout the country except for a couple of states that are, we're working on still. So we're poised, and with the collaboration, I mean, even without innovating anything further, just doing what we're doing, we see plenty of potential that we just weren't able to tap into previously. I mean, we look at our high water mark over the past 10 years, it's pretty healthy growth. We think that we'll achieve close to that this year, even though it's the first year in a partnership, simply because of the teamwork we're already seeing. But again, without even expanding and pushing the envelopes into strategic opportunities, just focusing on our core SIC codes and doing what we've always done, we see growth. There is a big market out there, and so I mean, what we're already hearing is as a result of MGIS and Reliance coming together, brokers are, for just numerous reasons, basically saying, okay, either you have a broker who's already been doing business with MGIS saying, you know what, I like what I'm seeing. This is an opportunity for me to show you our larger accounts, or vice versa. So we're already even seeing that. We're still, February. We're barely to the end of our last year's sales year. So that's exciting. And there's a commitment, a joint commitment to look at some strategic stuff as well that expands even further what we can do. So, I mean, we think that the future's much bigger than our past in terms of growth. And with our retention, our historically high retention, we think that converting the business, retaining it, writing new, we see this block and this partnership really growing. So.
Yeah, a couple things I would just emphasize in near-term growth opportunities are, I mentioned before the best-in-class capabilities that Reliance Matrix has in the absence space. There's a commitment on both sides to figure out how we make that work for us and give MGIS clients access to Matrix's capabilities. Whatever slice of the market we're in, there's different levels of that, but everyone from day one says we need to figure out how to be able to offer that to MGIS clients, and we've already started discussions on that. So we think we'll have a plan sometime this year and be able to start seeing more joint marketing efforts there. Another thing that we're working on and we're very close to bringing to market is some specialized contract language for what we call advanced practice clinicians. So those are your CRNAs, your physician's assistants, and any of us that go to our primary care physician, more often than not, we may see one of those individuals than the actual doctor. So we recognize they are taking an increasingly large role in direct customer care. Right now, our contract language doesn't specifically speak to the specialties that they do, but we've come up with language, and we actually filed it when we filed the product to be able to use when we're ready to bring it to the market. So I've already been talking with individuals in Reliance's product and compliance areas and pricing areas to roll that out probably by the end of first quarter or very early second. So that'll be a new capability that we hope will allow our sales teams, our joint sales teams, to have a new thing to talk about. Not that they don't have enough, but one additional unique feature we can bring to the market. So we're excited about that and the growth that will drive.
Exactly. This is about conversations you have with the client, healthcare employers and so forth. When you were talking about CPT codes with the doctors, their eyes light up. What they hear is, wow, they understand what I do, and I want that because medicine is so specialized. It's really relevant to those doctors. They suddenly get it. I mean, it falls together. And with as you're saying, Andrew, with the emerging role of APCs, being able to tell that clinic plan sponsor that, okay, this language applies to your physician's assistant who now is appearing on the bill with CPT codes because of this expanded role, it is powerful, and nobody else in the industry can say this. So that's what we're really trying to do, is make sure we're offering the contract that the folks really need, but also by doing so, you're giving our broker partners that much more to talk about. They can go in there and really show value. Yeah, we see several. As you've got the merger and acquisition, the M&A activity happening in the healthcare space, just like it is everywhere else. It creates change. You've got hospitals buying physician practices. You've got private equity rolling up different specialty anesthesiology, radiology, and so forth. So you're creating larger clients. I mean, we see that as opportunity because we've been working with this already, and those are opportunities. It'll be interesting, and especially with Reliance being such a prominent hospital player and with such credibility in the hospital space, there's strategic opportunity down the road, to figure out how to offer carve-outs, so you can take those physicians. The number one, it's interesting, you read the trades, and patient safety, from a public-facing standpoint, that's always going to be number one. But when you talk to the CFOs, the folks running, their number one real concern is staffing. How do we recruit physicians? How do we retain them? Because without that, we can't really fulfill any of our other missions. That is the number one concern. And we feel like, given the importance of disability insurance to doctors, and doctors being a big component of any healthcare organization, this could be a strategic opportunity for MGIS and Reliance to work together there. We also have ways, creative ways, to work with these larger organizations that you could have multiple practices that are brought together with a management services organization, contracted management. We've worked effectively with those groups, and it's, so we've sort of been there and done that with some of this stuff, and we feel like we've probably explored pathways that our competitors haven't, simply because this is our focus. So again, with the right partnership, we see some opportunity. The hospital carve out, getting into these larger organizations, and as you pointed out, Andrew, because Reliance is recognized as the #1 absence provider, it makes it that much easier for us to work with these larger organizations who obviously need, the larger and multi-state exposure type organizations, they need absence management, and who better than Matrix, right? So that's what we see.